Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Drink it in, man.
Deep left side carry on. Picks on the block. At the 5. At the 2. At the 1 to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
Drink it in, man.
Get up, Stafford throws. It is end zone. Caught! Oh, baby, what a catch! Kenny Galladay, you're a freak! What a catch! Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Cornbread! I love the Lions! Say it with me! I love the Lions!
Drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid drinkers. It is a Friday, Grifka's favorite day of the weekend, and this might be my favorite day of the week, or maybe my favorite week so far, because we have Lions practice, we have actual football going on, we have actually things to talk about, news and notes, reports on players. It looks like the NFL's got their act together. We are going to have football. I got pretty much no doubts about it. The Lions have been tremendous with their COVID rates. I mean, lots to talk about here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast. I'm your host, Derek Oakrey. And we got on the other end of the line, the one and only Grifka. Grifka, I don't know if you saw it, but Eric Schlitt put out an article talking about all the different podcasts and beat writers and everything with the Lions. And the thing that cracked me up the most is so he put Detroit Koolaid Cast, Derek Oakrey, and Grifka. He didn't ask what your first name was. He didn't care. I told you when we started this that I was going to make you just simply Grifka, the Grifka gimmicks, and here we are, and you're simply known as Grifka in print. No first name needed. How you feeling here on a Friday?
Oh, so that's pretty cool, man. It just made my weekend.
You are now just Grifka forever.
Yeah, I'm up there with like Prince and Madonna,
right.
Da Vinci. Everybody knows that stuff. I'm just one name. I can live with
It
that.
cracked me up. I even wrote him back. I'm like, I think it's so perfect that you just wrote Grifka only. But if you want his other name, I gave him your other name, and he didn't bother to change it. So I thought it was great. He was just like, no, he's Grifka.
Once again, I can live with a little bit of pub like that. I don't need the full name. I'm okay with that.
So
awesome.
I mean, I think I know the answer, but how you doing here on a Friday?
After that news, I'm doing good. You know that. So, it's Friday. So, it's Friday in the summertime. Training camp's happening. It's, once again, it's going to be low 80s up here in Michigan. It's sunny. Once again, stay indoors, stay cool, keep your air on. It's not, cool enough yet to crack the windows open in the middle of the day. And as always, man, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday.
No doubt, man. No doubt. So, I mean, gosh, there's been tons. We had Logan on Wednesday. We didn't really talk news and notes or all the different things that have been coming out of camp. I mean, you know me. I've been all over the coordinator press conferences. Matt Patricia's hit the podium a couple times. Multiple players. My guy Tracy Walker, DeAndre Swift was really impressive at the podium. Lots to talk about. But Grifka, I know you probably got something stirred up here on a Friday. I know you probably got something you got to ask me, or we're gonna have a good show here today. So what do you got going? What are we talking about?
Well, the first thing is I heard a little rumor about you. Is it true that you're planning a trip to West Hills? And if you are, let me know if it's nice. I hear they got beautiful sunsets and nice golf course. So, you hear anything about that, or is that true that you're going to visit West Hills?
Grifka, we have made Wes Hills famous here on the show, but there is no more Wes Hills. It has been closed up. I don't know if it's a old folk home, if it's a golf course, if it's a place where you go take selfies and then post them on Instagram. I mean, Wes Hills can be so many different things, but it's gone now. There's no more Wes Hills to speak of for us. It's a sad day.
Quick, can I piggyback that question, just out of curiosity?
You
Do you
can.
think Wes Hills is on speed dial? If another running back gets hurt, you think he's on speed dial?
Oh, you
Like
know
Flu?
what? You know Wes Hills is on speed dial. I mean, him and Flu are numbers 1 and 2, but I mean, it's a sad day that Wes Hills is gone, don't you think?
Yeah, I will miss him. I don't know how they were able to sign him off the street on Tuesday, and like Sunday he was starting the game in front of like Ty Johnson. Everybody. It's like these guys have been on the team. How does Wes Hills walk in and just start?
Grifka, Wes Hills. I mean, it was a wonderful gimmick for the time that we made it. We turned it into so many wonderful things, and now it's gone. But Wes Hills is still an incredible name, and I will never forget the one and only Wes Hills. What else we got? It's a sad day. Don't get us started off on a sad note.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's do this. I don't know if this one will get your blood boiling. You kind of mentioned it on
Boy,
Wednesday's
here we
show,
go.
but did the Lions really mess up by not, signing Everson Griffen? Tweeted how he wanted to come here and get going. We were kind of hyped about it in the show, and there was a rumor a few weeks back that he'll sign with the Cowboys, and it didn't happen. So we still held out hope. But did the Lions mess up by just not giving him like a 1-year deal?
Grifka, is this a real question? This is your question to not get me upset on a Friday? I mean, this is you think I'm going to take this question calmly right now?
Yeah, because I don't think we can ever miss Everson Griffen because we never had him. So it's like one of those things. Like I don't think you get too worked up over this.
Well, Grifka, often like on the show, especially when you're talking about players or draft picks or especially paying people, you're wrong. This has got me fired up. Like we sat around and twiddled our thumbs on Everson Griffen. Hey, has Bob Quinn looked at the depth chart when it comes to defensive ends and pass rushers? We got about 2 players on this football team. I don't know what he thinks he's going to do to get after the quarterback. I'm pretty sure he watched tape last year. We didn't get after the quarterback last year. I don't know what he's done really to, get it better. Austin Bryant, the guy that I had some high hopes on, he's on PUP or he hasn't practiced once. I don't know what his deal is again. Yeah, this is a huge issue because Everson Griffen could have been had. $6 million or whatever the price was not too bad. Everson Griffen is a beast of a football player, a physical beast, a type of guy that we could, I think, easily assimilate to our scheme. And instead, what did we do? The old thing that I complain about on this show, the old NFL general manager, just sit around and wait and wait and wait and wait and try to wait as long as you can to, I don't know, bring the price down or to whatever their point is. And what do? You lose out on the player. Like, it's just another case to me of Bob Quinn getting a little too cute with it and being like, oh, if I wait another week, maybe his price will come. If I wait another week, maybe an injury will happen or something, and then I'll sign. No, instead the Dallas Cowboys went and inked this guy up. He's a plug-and-play starter as an edge rusher for them. I damn sure know he could have played for us. And instead, now you're sitting around and go, oh, I like my guys, or we got a good team. Like, you've heard me pub this team. I think we have young players that have upside, but adding a player like that to me wouldn't have killed you, especially if you had, I don't know all the details about where they're at with Kenny and Taylor Decker, but if it wasn't going to kill your extensions with those guys, yeah, you should have figured out how to work something out, a friendly deal where, yeah, he's happy, but also it's not killing your salary cap for multiple. This isn't a Grifka contract where you're like, hey, Everson Griffen, here's 4 years, $40 million. Come to the Lions. No, 1 year, $6-8 million would have been totally fine with me for a pass rusher like him. Instead, you played the old wait and see game, and what did you see? The Dallas Cowboys went and swiped another good player for their team, and the Detroit Lions sitting there holding the bag again, especially at a position of need, especially at an impact position like defensive end pass rusher. I was very frustrated when I saw it. I feel like your whole, oh, we never had him, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal because we haven't been able to get after the quarterback since Matt Patricia came here, and I don't feel like we've done much to, get pass rush. What are we just going to cover again with 7 back and a bunch of linebackers? No, you still need beasts up front, and Trey Flowers can't do it all himself. So, yeah, this has me really frustrated on a Friday, and the fact that you'd act like, oh, no big deal, or oh, I'll throw this at Oakery and he'll just, be have a calm answer about it. It's got me hot. This is a ridiculous move by the Lions, passing on this guy or not being as aggressive as they should. It's another pass rusher we missed on. It's another chance to get us up over the hump and give us something to be excited about. What, you went and paid Mike Daniels $8-9 million last year, but you couldn't go ahead and do it for a guy like Griffen? Like, there's nobody else on the market unless they're going to go do what I said they should have done back before July 4th, which is go get you Davion Clowney. So unless he goes and does that, it's a miss by Bob Quinn, a guy who I support, but he does this all the time where he doesn't want to spend any money or he doesn't want to go in on a player when we really need that type of player. And it's come back to bite him a couple times. I sure hope it doesn't do it in 2020. Okay, I'm done.
But like you said, hey, maybe they're saving it for Clowney. They weren't interested in Griffen. That was just kind of a ploy, So maybe they will go get Clowney, even though I don't think it's going to happen.
It won't happen. Like before, you would 2 months ago, you heard me do a podcast where most people you got mad because they thought I was just stringing them along. Like I believed it. I thought maybe this is the year. We missed out on Khalil Mack, obviously like the contract with him as well as what they gave up is crazy, but we've missed out on lots of not only pass rushers, but other types of positions that could have helped us. And I felt like maybe this was the year that they would go. A 1 year, $10 million on Jadeveon Clowney would be totally fine with me, but I don't see them doing it. And, like I say, I know Clowney wants a lot more than $10 million, but he's playing the waiting game too. He's gonna go Bob Quinn on himself. He's gonna be sitting there waiting, turning down deals. Hey, we're 3 months into camp, and everybody's gonna say, forget it. We go sit on the sideline. We'll catch you in 2021 or 2022 if you can still play at that point. I mean, yeah, he's going to Bob Quinn himself if he's not careful. So it's disappointing, especially for Bob Quinn, a guy that I try to support on the show. I think he makes pretty shrewd, good moves, but this is too many times where he's just waiting around, trying to hold out, or like I said, maybe he's just like, oh, we don't like Everson Griffen. He's not a fit, or Jadeveon Clowney. He's this, that, and the other. Well, I guarantee both those guys could help you because you came nowhere within a quarterback last year, and you need to get after quarterbacks this year, and you got about 2 to 3 bodies right now that can actually do it. So you might want to add another impact piece of that position.
Yeah, when like you mentioned last year, you had nobody get to the quarterback, and we all know the story about how Dak Prescott said he went through his reads 3 times before ultimately throwing a touchdown. That's pretty sad. That's 3 times you're able to go through your reads. That is like ordering a pizza and waiting for it to get delivered and then being able to throw a touchdown. So, yeah, I agree with you. They still need to go out and get somebody. And, we can hold out hope for Clowney, but, like I said, I don't see that happening. And I don't know if they're just being shrewd or being the smartest men in the room right now, but it is kind of difficult to watch.
Griffin, I know we got to keep it moving, but when we started this podcast, it was probably like our 5th show or somewhere in that range, and it was when Khalil Mack was on the trade block from the Oakland Raiders at that point. And what was my take back then? Hey, Bob Quinn, he's been here 2-3 years. It's a nice time to go make a big splash move. If you can work out a contract and decent trade, this is the type of player you trade for. He was at a good age. He was at a position of need. He was a athletic freak. He is a really good guy off the field. He checked all the boxes. So as much as you try to clown me on the show for, oh, you just like cheap players, or oh, you don't want to pay anybody, I was all aboard with that, and that was 3 years ago. And here we are having the same discussion about, I mean, I almost can't name any players that Bob Quinn has went big on, to try to bolster a position of weakness. other than drafting people or like, yeah, I think every year in free agency he attacks like our weaknesses. Hey, we were bad at this, so let me go get this guy in free agency or let me draft this position. But he misses out on these little players, after the fact that are still needed. And gosh, I mean, his one swing in 5 or 6 years as general manager was Mike Daniels. I mean, really? That's not going to cut it, as far as being a little bit bold at times or knowing when the time is right and when to make it happen. I feel like I'm sitting here getting disappointed because I just waited for him to find that perfect move, and instead, yeah, he's made some good draft picks. He's brought in some decent people. He's built a pretty, good team in regards to youth, contract base, and all that. But he's still a few blue chippers away, and instead of going to get him, he just sits there and waits it out. And I think that the sand in the hourglass is going to run out on him, and it's going to run out on him because his clock ran out on all these different moves he could have made, and instead he just sat there and said, oh, maybe next time, or, oh, it's a little too expensive, or, oh, I don't love everything about the player. Well, some of these guys can help you, and that's the bottom line. So anyway, let's keep it moving before I get more frustrated.
Well, how about we do this really quick? Let's take a pause for the cause and pay some bills. You can catch your breath. Then we'll come on back and want to ask you a question about the offense, and we'll do some, would you rather. We haven't done a would you rather in a while, so how about we do that?
All right. I need a pause for the cause, Griffka, and we definitely need to pay some bills as we often do here on the show. So everybody, please take a listen to our sponsors. They really help us out. We'll be right back after the break.
Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Detroit Koolaid drinkers, we're back from the break. Thank you so much for listening to our sponsors, Anchor, Spotify, all those different great sponsors we have on the show. Keeps the Detroit Koolaid Cast going, where you know that we do this twice a week, every week for you right here on the show.
Drink it in, man.
Griffco, what else you got? I mean, you thought you'd ask me about Everson Griffen to start the show, and about 15 minutes later, I got done talking about it. I got steam coming out of my ears. What else we got here on a Friday?
What I have for you is, I don't know if this one might steam you as well. I saw this list not too long ago, and it was the most exciting offenses to watch for this year coming up. And naturally, like number one was, Kansas City and other teams on the list, where like New Orleans was on the list. Somehow Tampa Bay made it. I realize they got Tom Brady, but they do have some good offensive weapons. But people are interested in seeing, I guess this guy, whoever did the list, was interested in seeing Tampa Bay, and they had Dallas on there naturally, and somehow Green Bay made it. I'm not for sure on that one. And then I'm seeing like Baltimore, and I'm like, okay, they got a quarterback who can scramble, and he looked pretty bad in the playoff game because he kept throwing the ball to the other team. And as I made my way down the top 10, we talked about it, but Detroit wasn't on the list. And like I said, I mean, a few of those teams I named, even Cleveland made the list. And I was just like, their quarterback is terrible. I don't care about their one wide receiver who had one catch and was living off that one catch. And, we went back to dye his hair blonde thinking he's going to, relive some glory days. And, he's not even the best wide receiver on that team, but still, they got two tight ends, they got, some running backs, and, they tried signing, a little bit of different offensive line, but they're still hamstrung with that crap quarterback. They even made the list as one of the exciting offenses to watch. And like Arizona made the list as well. It's just like, really? So they got the new scheme. So defense coordinators are going to be able to scheme against it. And all of a sudden, Kyler Murray's the second coming of, I don't know who, but obviously Arizona is going to be one of the most exciting offenses to watch. But yet our Lions with, Matt Stafford throwing the ball around, good wide receiving core, two young, running backs. One of them, could be a stud in Swift. And if Kerryon stays on the field and healthy, we've seen what he can do. we're both expecting Hawkinson to take a step forward. Nowhere on this list. Does that make you feel good, or how you're like, okay, they're flying under the radar, I'm okay with that?
Well, Grifka, after that rant from you, I mean, I've got a couple issues. So I love it that you ran down teams like, I don't know, Dallas, Green Bay, all your gimmicks like you like to do, but you had some horrible takes in there too about, oh, I don't know why Tampa Bay's on there. Oh, they got Tom Brady. You know why Tampa Bay's on there, Grifka? Because they got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronk, O.J. Howard, a couple young running backs, an improved offensive line, good defense. They have a really good team top to bottom. You want to know why the Cleveland Browns are on their Grifka? I don't have the sound bite, but I know your bit went something like this. Oh, Baker Mayfield. Oh, yeah, he's real good. He sucks. Okay, yeah, that was your take. Okay, he was bad for 1 year. You want to know why they're on there, Grifka? Because they have Jarvis Landry, Odell, Baker Mayfield at quarterback. They got Kareem Hunt. They got Chubb. They got a guy named Austin Hooper at tight end. I don't know if you've seen him. He's been in the Pro Bowl the last couple of years. They got David Njoku. I mean, they're just stacked at all positions. And they got the Michigan kid, Donovan Peoples-Jones, who they stole in like the 6th round of the draft. So like some of these teams that you're writing off, I don't know how you're writing off the Baltimore Ravens. Grifka, they have one of the most unique offenses in the game. I don't care if their quarterback's not throwing for 400 yards. They're unguardable. It's ridiculous what they're doing on offense. So I don't know what you're thinking about some of these teams. I mean, I know you sit in your lazy boy and watch football, but you might have blinders on because some of these offenses are much better than the Detroit Lions. But I don't know. Here's my thing with the Lions. I feel like, yeah, we've got Stafford, we've got outside weapons, I got a tight end I like, a couple running backs. My problem is, like, it seems like year after year we've sort of Matt Stafford has this up and down thing with the media where like he'll be, really good and everybody will be like, oh, the Lions are returning Matt Stafford. They're a sleeper. Matt Stafford's gonna light up the scoreboard. And then you'll have like a down year, and then people are like, Matt Stafford, he's never consistent, or maybe it's time to move on from him. Then you'll come back and have another great year, and then you'll have you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is the year where, again, he's getting a lot of pub for 8 games, and people are like, the thing that frustrates me the most is this whole, if you project his stats forward, he would have had 5,000 yards and almost 40 touchdowns. Yeah, well, the reason that's ridiculous is because the guy was playing out of this world. You think he was going to do that at that level consistently for 8 more football games, not have a few clunkers in there or not have a few great games? That's how football works. You don't come out and just blow it up every game. So the fact that they were just going to project his numbers exactly like that for another 8 games, I think is a ridiculous take by a lot of people. So as much as I love this offense and I think they're versatile and they can spread the football around, I got to see it again because I could easily see us having some struggles and people going like, oh man, I thought the Lions were going to have a good offense and here we're sitting where, they're starting slow again or they're trying to come back in the 4th quarter and they're not running the football the way that we hope. I mean, again, I try to be the positive one on the show, but as far as this list goes, a lot of the teams that you named off, I'm much higher on in regards to their overall talent, and I feel like the Lions need to come back this year in 2020 and put a real good year together offensively so they can have 2 years back to back where they were pretty good, and like you can literally stack Matt Stafford's 8 games, and then you can stack on 2020 and say, look, 16 quality games in 2020 plus his 8. Wow, him and Bevel and this offense are something to deal with, but I'm a little hesitant to do it right now just because I've seen the up-down theory with this quarterback, this team, and just the old hype train where it's like, oh, we're going to go do this, that, and the other, and then they come out looking hit or miss every week. Some weeks we are world beaters, and other weeks we're fumbling our way through the first 3 quarters, and then we're losing to teams we shouldn't lose to. Or you hear me every week talking about, oh, this is a game where they might put up 30, and we come back on a Tuesday or Wednesday doing our shows, and what they put up, like 12, 14, maybe they score 21 if they're lucky, like that's just the NFL game, I think. So, I mean, putting the Lions in the middle of the pack right now, or even a little bit lower than that until they come out and prove it again, I think is more than fair. And I'm a little bit hesitant on some of the hype train I've been hearing about Stafford for MVP. Oh, he would have done this, that, and the other if he was healthy. Okay, well, he hasn't been healthy for the last couple of years, so assuming his back's going to be perfect too is a somewhat of a stretch. So go out and show me. Don't talk about it. I feel like the Lions are in that mode of, hey, we just want to go win football games and we don't want to, they're not into the hype or anything. So just go do that. Go win. I don't care if you score 40 or 14, put up W's and I'll be happy. And to me, this year is going to be a total coin flip when they start against the Chicago Bears. Are we going to come out and just lay the smack down on the Chicago Bears? Or we can come out and have a lackluster football game where we're in a dogfight in the fourth quarter because the offense isn't clicking or we're not what we expected. So we'll wait and see is my thought, because right now I think that it's all over the map, and I'm just not willing to anoint them based on an 8-game sample size.
Gosh, Derek, I think I'm really starting to rub off on you, because that sounds like something I would say.
Yeah, well, that's my worst nightmare. I don't need you, your Eeyore ever rubbing off on me, but I'm just saying that, like, it gets annoying that it's just like up and down every year. Like, what if Matt Stafford comes out and has some clunkers? What do you think the people will say? Oh, time to move on from him. Like, go draft a quarterback. But because he had 8 games good last year, everyone's anointing him as the next MVP or guy that's going to have a resurgence back to 2011, that he's going to put up 45 touchdowns and revolutionize the league. And, I mean, I think the answer is probably somewhere in between both of those.
But like you just said, though, you'd want to see it again. I mean, I mentioned a few of those teams, like Kyler Murray. All of a sudden, he was a rookie, and there were spots where he looked good, then there was other spots where he just looked, kind of lost. And you mentioned Cleveland and all their weapons, but there were plenty of games where Baker Mayfield looked like hot garbage. And I know he said, I just got lost in the chaos of Cleveland. I mean, nobody's ever confused Cleveland for, the bright lights and big city of New York or Los Angeles or Miami or anything like that. And he got lost in the chaos. It's just, come on, man. So for what you said with Detroit, wanted to, have it put it up again, those couple teams there where you said I had a bad take, I would have to say, well, fine, show me again. First of all, Cleveland, show me to start with, and Kyler Murray, fine, show me again. You were a rookie, and now defenses are going to adjust to your weaknesses, and force you to do that. So, for those few teams, like you said, I totally agree with you on, Tampa Bay. They got a lot of great offensive talent. Tom Brady's down there working with them, and with his pedigree, probably could be one of the most exciting ones. But so I agree with you on that. But for like what you said with Detroit, show you again, I think you can say the same thing with teams like Arizona, and even Cleveland, to be honest with you. They got a bunch of names over there, but still, I mean, they weren't that impressive with all those names last year. So
yeah, but what you're missing, and again, if you listen to some of my answers, I didn't mention one thing about Kyler Murray in my whole rant on my comeback, because yeah, they've added DeAndre Hopkins, who's a good player, but I'm not on this Kyler Murray hype train that he's going to be just out of this world this year. I thought he was okay last year at times. He had a lot of inconsistencies as well. You can beat up Cleveland all you want to, and I'd never come on here, as much as we have fun with the Baker Mayfield argument. Like, I don't come on here and say, hey, Griffka, he played great last year. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, this guy he was inaccurate, which he's never been in his career. He looked fat. He was just making horrible decisions. And everybody knows the main reason that was is because they had a Swiss cheese offensive line and a ridiculous head coach who had no clue what he was doing. So they've fixed both of those. They not only have all these skill players, now they have a totally rebuilt offensive line, and the guy's rededicated. So they've obviously addressed the problems. And with the Lions, like, I feel like we have the same receivers, which is good. We have a ripped TJ Hawkinson in year 2, which is probably a good thing. But, the Lions, like, by adding to their run game and by adding Big V, I mean, yeah, I hope it's helpful, but I don't know that those were like the main issues. I feel like obviously Stafford's health was the main issue that took him out of the game, and we had other issues on offense, but I just don't know. Like it's kind of, if Big V is better than Rick Wagner, great. If Swift is all we think he's going to be, and Carry-On can still give us some things, yeah, run game will probably help Matt Stafford. But my other big argument with Stafford has always been, we can't sit around here and wait for everything to be perfect for this guy. He's got enough where he should be able to take this team to a 10-win season and playoffs, and take us from there. And it's always the next thing. Oh, he didn't have this, or this didn't go perfect, or oh, I wish this was better. Like, we just need it to be put all together this year. And I hate to take a wait and see approach, but it's kind of like, I'm excited about this offense, but I could easily see T.J. Hawkinson having a marginal year stat wise, but helping the team. I could see Kenny having to step back because he's going to get doubled. I could see, Swift being a really good player, but not blowing up from day one like people are anointing him because he had a few good practices here to start out. So we'll see. I mean, would I love them to come out and just blow up the scoreboard against Chicago and put everybody on notice that we're an offense to deal with? Of course I would. I love Darrell Bevell. He's a smart, just exciting offensive coordinator, which we haven't had here in years and years. But go show me again for a bigger sample size than 6 to 8 games, and we'll be excited about it. Hopefully for a couple years to come here. That'd be nice.
Said, I mean, it kind of sounds like what I would say. I'm always like the wait and see guy. So, I do like your take, and well, like you said, we'll have to see what this offense does. And hopefully it's one of those things where they're allowed to, really open up the playbook, not be handcuffed, always looking like, okay, we're just going to ground and pound, 3 yards cloud of dust. So I'm hoping this becomes one of the most exciting offenses, in the league based on the talent that they do have. But, I'm right there with you, wait and see, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Everybody out there listening, the fact that Griffen twice said that what I said is similar to what he said, that absolutely does this to me.
What the hell are you doing?
Oh, wait, not that. It does this.
That drives me freaking bonkers.
The fact that I said a take that's similar to Griffen, like, makes me ask myself,
what the hell are you doing?
Hopefully I can come back and say, man, this offense was incredible. Like, how did we not see this coming?
Drink it in, man.
Yeah, that's like I said, I think we've been doing the show. Wow, I'm starting to rub off on you. So let's do this. Let's finish up the show. We haven't done one of these in a while. Would you rather? Now I'm going to do a would you rather versus somebody who's been on the team before, that you've known, that you've seen since you've been a fan, and somebody who's currently on the roster. Okay, so some names on here that you'll like, and I'm just waiting to hear what you say on some of them. Okay, you ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay, let's start with the first one. Would you rather have Danny Amendola or Mike Furry?
Oh, come on, Griffen. Like, I mean, we
This
joke about
one's
Mike.
a cherry pick.
We joke about Mike Furry on the show. I mean, that was early in my fandom. It was the first white receiver I ever saw that was half decent. I don't know how he even made the Detroit Lions receiver core, let alone catch 100 passes, whatever it was, with good old John Kitna. But, I mean, I've absolutely loved what Danny has brought to the team. I think I got into it a little bit with Benny Blades on the Believe in Lions podcast that drops on Thursday, where I was trying to tell Benny that as good as Danny's been, he's pretty dang old, and you can't just keep these guys around forever despite how he's produced. So I really like the grittiness that Amendola's brought to the squad. I mean, I think if he plays similar or where he played last year and helps us get, as I keep saying, over the hump, this is a slam dunk. But I mean, it's a pretty much slam dunk for me. I think overall as a football player and just a guy that I've liked, go ahead and give me Danny Boy all day over your boy Mike Furry.
I think my favorite highlight of Mike Furry was that game at Texas Stadium where Kitna threw him a touchdown, and then Furry found like one of the stars that used to hang on the side of the wall, and he threw the football at it and knocked the star off the wall. I just saw that highlight again recently, and I thought to myself, they lost that game. That was the first time. I'm like, they lost that game. I mean, it was cool how we did it, but they still lost that game. So,
hey, Mike Furry, your celebration, just like Roy Williams when he did a meditation in the end zone down about 21 on Thanksgiving or whatever it is. Yeah, you both get this soundbite here from the Detroit Koolaid Cast. What else we got
awesome.
on these would you rathers? Come on, Griffco. Let's turn up the pace a little bit.
Now, would you rather have Romeo Okwara or Cliff Averill?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I feel like I thought we had a steal in Romeo Okwara, but he was just non-existent last year. Whereas good old Uncle Cliff, he showed up almost every year coming out of Purdue or whatever, where he was sacking people and doing that ridiculous choo-choo celebration that he would do, where he was pumping his fists. So, I mean, I know me, the Big Hughes, he's probably out there somewhere listening. Uncle Cliff, Cliffy Averill was his boy, one of his favorites. So I'd probably go with Cliff in that scenario, but hopefully Okwara has a bounce back because I don't want to see him put up anything like he did last year. It was a pretty rough season for him.
Yeah, I know Cliff when they drafted him, I was thinking, just another guy. He did some nice stuff here before moving on to Seattle, so I'm in agreement with you. I would take Cliff Averill as well. Okay, next one. Would you rather have Marcus Trufant or Dre Bly?
Oh, man. This is an easy one for me, but I feel like Trufant is a huge, big old question mark, big old wild card for the Detroit Lions this year. He's either going to be that really good vet that's going to be almost like a legend in this town where people are like, man, remember when we got Trufant? He had those 2-3 good years with the Lions and played better than we thought. Or he's going to be that vet that's a little dinged up, that's past his days, where we're like, man, we thought that was going to be a good signing, and he just did not do what we needed to here. But this is an easy one. It's Dre Boy all day, every day. He had so much swag. He was that guy that would get a pick six or get roasted and toasted from time to time. But I just loved his swagger, his game. It was so fun to watch. Again, a little bit early in my fandom, probably my first year or so, he was still hanging around. But Dre Bly was fun to watch and probably goes down as one of my favorite corners the Lions have had during my time.
Okay, Dre Bly all the way. He's Mr. High Risk, High Reward. He would jump routes, but then he would get burned as well. Gosh, but loved his swag, just like you said.
So you
next one. I agree with you on that one. Next one. A couple guys that had some injury issues. First one, would you rather have Kerryon Johnson or Javid Best?
Carry on. Carry on my wayward son. Or your boy, Javid Best, the classic highlight that you can go find on YouTube where he gets KO'd in college. But good old Jim Schwartz wasn't worried about that. He thought he'd be okay. I was a supporter of the Javid Best pick as well. I'm not going to lie. I felt like he had a lot of juice and was a good pick. I remember, I think me and you were at Chuck's or something watching that draft, and they traded up for him and traded up with Minnesota, and it was kind of like, okay, we got Sue and Best. That's a good first round. And he came in and had some game. I mean, if I got to pick between the two, and this hurts me because I remember going off on you a year or two ago about how Kerryon was easy to see how good he was and stuff. I hate to say this, but I'm really down on Kerryon right now just based on, I mean, everybody wants to talk about his health, but the biggest thing that I see with him is that gigantic knee brace that he has on. I mean, I don't know how you're a dynamic running back in the league when you have a knee brace from your upper thigh till your lower calf, on your right leg, which should probably be your cutting leg, or, he can tell you, oh, it's just precautionary, and it's going to limit your mobility a lot. And I feel like even his attitude on Twitter and stuff is sort of much more lackadaisical, like, oh, I'm just, doing this, doing that, like, don't worry about me, or what he say last year when he came back, something about like, oh, if I don't come back, my fans will become others' fans. Well, hey, Carry On, here's a note. If you don't ball out or actually get on the football field more than 6 times a year, your fans are going to be, you're going to have no fans because everybody just wants to see you play and play at a high level. And all these injuries and all this, these comments you have, all you want to do is see you score touchdowns, run the football with ferocity, and here's the thing, not fumble on the half-inch line against the Kansas City Chiefs that cost us that football game. So this is job at best for me. I mean, Carry On, I've soured on him a bit. I still hope he can be good and help this team, but I feel like his health's a big question mark. It wouldn't even shock me if he, has injury issues and is just moved on sooner than we'd think, because he just can't get over these knee issues that he's had since he's been in the NFL. So give me Best in his short stint just because he could house call him, and obviously his career was way too short as well. What did he play? Probably only 2-3 years, but they were pretty good years, but it's pretty embarrassing to just have him go out with concussions when everybody knew that was his issue. So can I take neither, I guess, because both are really disappointing me the more I talk about them.
That's no. I'll go back and take Wes Hills. Okay, is that?
Yeah, I think I just saw a text come across my phone saying the 25-year-old player for the Detroit Lions was cut. I was thinking, who's that? Like, are they talking about Wes Hills? Like, was there really an ESPN blurb that just came out about Wes Hills being cut from the Lions and acting like he's this 25-year-old stud? That was weird to me.
That's great. So you lean toward Best, and then you're like, forget it. Yeah, I'm going to leave them both there. You had a little buyer's remorse there. So
yeah,
I like that, though. Gosh, if, like you said, if you were forcing me to take one, if it was the second to last pick and I'm picking a basketball team and junior high gym, I guess I'll take job at Best on that one then. So
hey, real quick, Jim Schwartz. The fact that you watched Javid Best on YouTube, fell in love with him, drafted him, and then acted like, no big deal on the concussions. I'm sure that won't be an issue moving forward. Hey, Jim Schwartz, this is for you.
It was a bad decision, period, point blank. It was one of the dumbest decisions I ever made.
Oh, my goodness. That's like one of those where just a year or two later you sit back there and you're just like, everybody knew it, and then it just came back to bite us. It's just first round swing and a miss despite the flashes that he had.
Yeah, he was like the original planker on YouTube, when people would go around and plank and just stay flat, as long as possible. Yeah, that was him after that hit.
Exactly.
So that guy was stiff before he even hit the ground.
Oh, that's rough.
Okay, next one. I know we haven't seen him take it down yet for the team, but still, we kind of we both like the signing. Would you rather have Danny Shelton or Shawn Rogers?
I don't know. I saw an interview a day or two ago with Shelton, and I felt like, man, this is a really just a good guy off the field. It seems like he's right in the prime of his career. He's obviously a huge human being. I remember when he came out in that draft and he almost, belly-to-belly suplexed the commissioner. I mean, you got to like that. He's got some intensity to him. He had a great pedigree coming out of college. I love a lot of things about Danny Shelton, but I mean, I got to admit, again, shout out to Big Hughes, his probably favorite player ever with the Detroit Lions, big baby Shawn Rogers. I remember he had the jersey, and to me, Shawn Rogers was that big fellow that was fun to watch, but would frustrate you so much too, because he seemed so talented, but, would always seem overweight, would always seem like just he wasn't there when you needed him, but then when you didn't need him, he'd make some big sack fumble or big play. I always remember him running that ball into the end zone against Denver when he rumbled and stumbled and ran out of breath and then dove into the end zone. I was there for that game. That was incredible. I think the Lions were 7-2 or something at that point, something crazy during that season. So, I mean, if I got a pick, I've got high hopes for Danny Shelton, but give me Shawn Rogers. Real fun, good draft pick, and I thought he was a good player for the Lions for what he did. A little lazy though.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Danny Shelton on this because Shawn Rogers was lazy. That guy took plays off. I mean, talking about a guy disappearing. Talking about when there was a goal line stand or whatever, and he wasn't on the field, and the coach was like, well, we have different player personnels. And I was like, well, how come Shawn Rogers, your best defensive tackle, isn't on the field at the goal line? Well, we have different player personnel. You got Andre Fluellen on the field as opposed to Shawn Rogers. I got big problems with that. So
it's like, duh.
Yeah, that guy was lazy. Exactly.
Grifka, that's why I like Sean Rogers, because I like the super talented guys that know they're so talented. He almost knew he didn't have to work that hard. So it was
Yeah.
just funny to me. It was like, yeah, you would love a big 350 pounder that can move like him to be a workhorse, but the fact that he was fat, lazy, and still really good was made him even cooler, I think. The ultimate
Yeah.
Detroit versus everybody, D-town, inner city type interior defensive tackle, Sean Rogers.
Yeah, I always heard he could lift some plates, but it was too bad it was plates of food at the Golden Corral, not like in the frickin' gym.
Oh, Grifka with a one-liner. Hey-oh!
Okay, last one. This one's just for you, man. This one might be a little hard, okay?
Oh, God, here we
Would
go.
you rather have the outlaw Jesse James or Eric Ebron?
Oh, I thought you were gonna combo the outlaw with a punter we shall not speak of, but
No.
the
I wouldn't
fact
do
that
that to you. You just put them both back again.
the fact that you throw Ebron in there, oh my goodness, like, gosh, the funny part, like, Jesse James become a gimmick on the show about how much I rag on him and call him a big waste piece of crap, but I distinctly remember when they signed him, me and you going on and on. People can find it in the archives, me and you talking about Jesse James signing. Oh yeah, like his age, he's 6'6" or 7. Hey, $6 million isn't it's kind of the going rate for a decent young tight end. And I mean, we liked him in college. We felt like he could be a decent player, play a good role, all that kind of stuff. And he's just been an absolute paperweight here, just nothing. Like, I don't know what he does well, except collect a $7 million check for some reason for multiple years from our football team. So as much as it pains me and as much as the people are going to hate it and as much as he's been a complete chotch since he's left here, he's got the rabbit ears and the frying pan hands. Like, me, I didn't want them to draft Eric Ebron, but I thought he had some moments here, and I thought he was never really used properly, where they were able to get him the football more when you spend that type of draft capital on a player. So because I've created the gimmick of the absolute $7 million waste of space piece of garbage named the outlaw Jesse James, I'm going to go with the piece of crap, frying pan hands, Twitter monster named Eric Ebum. Give me the Ebum here with the Crisco hands if I got to pick between these two stiffs.
Wow, Ebum went with him. Gosh. I still can't take him, man. You got to give me the outlaw, no matter how much he's robbing this. The real Jesse James would rob trains. This Jesse James actually just robbing the lines, just walking in every Tuesday. He doesn't even need a gun. He just walks up. He's like, hey, give me the money. And they just hand him his paycheck. So they both stole from people. One just happens to be stealing from our favorite football team. But still, give me the outlaw over Ebum.
Everybody, that's 2 zingers in a row from Grifka. Hey-oh! Oh, he's open mic night for Mike Grifka. You can find him at the local comedy club down the street.
Yeah. If you like my jokes, hit me up on Twitter at GriffkaDKC. Yeah.
Grifka, what was best
for
is you had a birthday this week. I put a little shout out for you. I also then later found out you got the same birthday as Trey Flowers, so you might want to stop ragging on him here on the show, because he's another guy that will absolutely chokeslam you right through the barricade when we're at training camp. But was there anything better than me tweeting out a picture of a jersey I bought for you earlier this year because I was going to make you wear it at the first opening game that you always select for us to go to with our season tickets that we split? I was going to make you rock during the whole tailgate an authentic Brandon Pettigrew practice jersey. That literally is in my closet here that I've been storing up for you, because that's the guy that we always argued about. That's the guy you ragged on for years and years. And sure enough, I was able to find it on eBay for a ridiculous price. I mean, it was about the price of a napkin. I was like, oh, I'm getting this just because I shouldn't even spend the money, but because I liked him a little bit as a player and just to rub it in on you, I was like, this will be worth the money just to make fun of Grifka for a couple hours at a tailgate. So I literally own a Brandon Pettigrew authentic practice jersey just to make you annoyed. And I was able to do that on your birthday by sending you that photo. So that was good times for me.
Yeah, that was cool. And the problem with it was, like, if I'm wearing it at the tailgate, I wouldn't have been able to, handle the tongs as I'm, working on the grill, and I'd go to pick up my drink and I'd drop that too. And, it was just so that would have been a problem. And then once I would have took it off, I would have been fine. I don't know what it is.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well,
Griff,
like I said, that was the last one. So you want to touch base on anything else?
I mean, I thought it was a good show, some fun stuff. I mean, the people know there's only one thing left to do. There's only one question that's on everybody's mind. There's only one thing that people want to know, and that's simply this. Griffka, I just want to know from you personally, do you have anything outlandish, stupendous, tremendous, just earth-shattering, maybe something that would blow the people's minds, just something that's just out of this world, just a thing that's going to rock the foundation of the Detroit Koolaid Cast here to end the show? Griffka, do you have anything else for the people?
Nope.
Oh, my goodness. Everybody, drink that Detroit Kool-Aid. We actually have football. We are just craving getting to that first game. I mean, I cannot wait until we can recap that first game, actually have some clue of what this new revamped Detroit Lions is that's healthy. They've added some pieces. Griffka's talked about the offense here today on the show. Will they be dynamic? Will they frustrate us? We're both hoping they'll be dynamic, but they need to go out and show us, and they need to show us for 4 quarters, 16 games, put it all together. We don't care if there's no fans in the stands or anything. We just want W's. We want to see a good product from our team. So excited for football. We're getting closer, but it can't come soon enough. So everybody, do this.
Drink it in, man.
And we'll catch you next week right here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast. Take care, everybody. We're out.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions.
Drink it in, man.